A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is a complex film that plays with the audience's expectations. Before watching any film, a viewer will have expectations on what they will see in the film, based on many aspects such as the film's title, a trailer they may watch, short synopsis, movie posters, what genre it has become defined as, and even how other people view the film. This film employs many quintessential aspects of the genres it represents, but it also employs many aspects that are quite unusual and uncommon of the genre that it purports itself to be. Firstly, let's look at the title. The title invokes emotions of fear for whatever girl is walking home alone at night, for this is typical of a female in a horror film to be the target of a predator. Next, let's look at the poster and representation of the main character. The poster utilizes few colors, but to great effect. The dripping red we could understand as blood, prominent on the lips of the mysterious black figure. Red is a color that is used effectively to reflect and represent feelings of anger, danger, and violence. The character itself is reminiscent of other characters in pop culture, such as those of Persepolis, another Iranian film, or the no-face character in Spirited Away. It is also representative of a generic nun-like character, a symbol of femininity and religion, two major motives in this movie. This film plays with the idea of a conventional genre and cannot be confined to any single genre, for it encompasses many facets of multiple. For defining what genre a film is, Baldwell, Thompson and Smith say, and I quote, "When we speak of film genres, we're indicating certain types of movies. Genres are convenient terms that develop informally. Filmmakers, industry decision makers, critics and viewers all share the sense that certain films represent others in certain ways." End quote. So what genre is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night? For genres are not strictly defined, they are fluid and interact independently with the content of the film, the effect of the film's content on the audience, and what the audience takes from the film. It encompasses many facets of many genres, including vampire films, western films, horror, film noir, and even has a storyline of romance. This encourages the audience to interpret the film in their own unique ways. To demonstrate these values, we are going to analyse a scene from early on in the film. It begins with a girl unknowingly the vampire at this point, leaving a store with the tattooed pimp stalking her from the shadows. If we pause and examine this medium-long shot, elements of the mise-en-scène show us things we may not see on first glance. First, we can see two representations of each character in poster form. Most interestingly, the male poster on the right-hand side has its eyes covered by the curtain blind, indicating his blindness from the reality of what this woman is and what is about to happen to him. If we examine the poster on the left of the vampire, we can see the direction of the face in the poster is opposite to the direction of the actual character, possibly indicating that while the vampire walks away from the stalker, she is highly aware and focused on his presence. Also noteworthy is a long black robe, which gives her the sense that she is floating rather than walking, an inhuman trait in an otherwise human-looking character. The director commented on the build of the character in a narration of a scene for the New York Times, and I quote, "When me and Sheila Vand were designing and creating the vampire, we looked at a lot of cobra videos and cat videos, and they imitate and mimic their prey, and that was definitely something we absorbed in the physicality of this vampire." This defines multiple motifs that appear throughout the film, the ideas of prey versus predator, and the mirroring or mimicking between the two as well, as the vampire being both a human and inhuman type character simultaneously. The scene continues, and we arrive at some over-the-shoulder shots. These shots show the perspective of each character, and show something of the power balance or dynamic between the two characters. We can see that from each character's perspective, the other character is shown from a high angle, which tells us that each character sees the other as weaker or as their own prey. This is the first shot of the woman over the man's shoulder, and the second over the shoulder shot of the man from the woman's shoulder. Straight and Murphy described the cinematography as a unique style which creates a hypnotic and isolating atmosphere. This unique way of presenting the film shows these motifs of power dynamics and the reversal of typical gender roles, as well as morality and prey versus predator. This next short clip shows us details of each character's moral dispositions, while the tattooed pimp knocks on the fish tank, disturbing their peace, and continues on without a second glance. The vampire lingers on the fish, seemingly concerned for them. This is atypical of a generic vampire. We would expect nothing short of relentless bloodthirst, but we do not see that in this vampire. We see that she is much more than that. If we again pause on another shot, this isn't noteworthy of analysis. This shot is dominated by animalistic figures, the tigers, deer, fish, all animals of prey or predatory nature, and seemingly the vampire fits right in with the animals, reinforcing the idea that it is both human and inhuman simultaneously. Also that she is similar to such animals, as the vampire is just as still as these animalistic symbols. The scene continues on, and we come to what the audience may expect to be the crucial point where the female comes into danger. However, to much surprise, it is revealed that the female character is not in danger and is in fact the danger herself. We come to the gore section of this sequence and we see many typical tropes of vampire and horror films. The pointed teeth of the vampire seen in this shot, as well as the blood around the mouth and the sucking on the neck of the victim. All ideas portrayed typically in horror films. This film plays with the idea of the director's intention and the viewer's perception. As Taraj puts it, and I quote, "A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night exceeds limited categorization as a vampire movie or a feminist art film. Perhaps reading a feminist agenda into this film has more to do with certain reviewers' inclinations than the intentions of the director." Many people have adopted this view that the female lead in this film and what it represents has feminist ideals. This is one of many interpretations that this film can have. Another important factor, not only in this scene but the rest of the film, is the idea of morality. Byron and Stefanow discuss the use of the vampire as the central monster. No more is the reciprocal relationship between fear and desire and morality and immorality present than in the vampire. End quote. The vampire's representation in this film is not the most typical of vampires. It could be taken almost as a type of anti-hero, for the vampire employs its violence only when it sees fit, i.e. when men have done wrong to women. Chambers and Chaplin argue that, and I quote, "More recent representations of vampires move away from the monstrous embodiment of evil. Rather, the vampire embodies a fraught, victimized otherness which becomes for the reader or viewer a potent source of sympathy and identification." This viewpoint suggests that the audience may even sympathize with the vampire, quite an atypical response for a film of this genre. To sympathize with an inhuman monster is certainly out of the ordinary, but this film is atypical in that sense. It challenges typical ideas of gender, morality, and expectations. Lastly, this sequence sets up a sort of dramatic irony for the rest of the film. Typically in horror films, prey and predator come face to face and see each other for what they are. However, Arash, the love interest of the vampire for most, if not the entire film, does not see the vampire as being a vampire. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night is a film which defies genre norms and leads audience members to create their own interpretations, as it does not lead the audience down any one path. It has symbols and norms that indicate certain genres, but it is also through many atypical parts that are not seen in the genre of horror or vampire films. This allows the audience to take on their own perspective, regardless of the director's intentions.